How you doing? So these are my top picks for the new Saga Sector Incursion. So I notice I didn't say best champion incursion because when it comes to MCOC and especially incursion, it could be very subjective. So I'm just gonna tell you these are my top picks for the Saga new incursion. So I decided to make another video because when it came to my top three picks for the new Saga sector, that's really not everybody will have those champion, as well as somebody mentioned in another YouTube channel saying that I can't believe nobody's mentioning Morbius. And this person, I don't know who this person is. They knew how good Morbius is, and then he didn't know that there's somebody talking about how good Morbius is on YouTube, even though I already posted my top three best champion, or my top three picks for Incursion, which involves Morbius and Silk and Mr. Sinister. So where's Mr. Sinister at? Can we get him? Come on, Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister. So those are my top three picks. I already made a video on them pretty thoroughly, like the best hacks for them. If you wanna to go check it out, I will have it in the description below. So those are my top three picks when it comes to the new Saga sector. So let me see. Come on. So something I want to note: if you are gonna use someone like Morbius, you want to make sure you have him awaken, propel you at max sig. Same thing with Mr. Sinister. Um, I don't think his signature ability is working, but Kabam said it's only the regen part. So, well, hopefully it's just the regen part that's not working. So if you are gonna fight with use Mr. Sinister on a fight, go up against. Do not go up against Science Champion, okay? Because the Science regen part doesn't work. Um, it's unfortunate. It is what it is, and it's also there's a chance he could get nerfed. So if you're thinking about Mr. Sinister, just think about those for before you rank him up. But so if you're gonna go to Incursion with Mr. Sinister, do not fight against Science Champion. You're just going to waste a charge because he can only get 10 charges from his signature ability. Like I said, if I hadn't said it already, you want him to be awakened and befriend you at max sig, and really you want him to be at max sig. When it comes to Mr. Sinister, Morbius, I would not bring them to Incursion if they're unawakened. So make sure they're awakened. Silk can definitely benefit from being awakened, but she doesn't really. It's not completely necessary. So I like I mentioned, I will post a link below description about the my top three picks for Incursion. So we're gonna go over the rest. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you every champion in this list because there's so many. I just tell you if they're gonna be good, and some of them I'll give you the hacks, best hack, my top picks for hacks you want to use for them. So if you like a champion you want to use, let me know. I'll tell you my top picks for the hacks you can use with them. So Diablo, I think he's gonna be good for obviously for incursions. The reason why, because he has the sustainability. What else? I was doing like 80k from the heavy attack. I don't even know if I had the best hack. I don't think I did. So 80k from a heavy attack from this guy. So best hacks for Diablo, my top picks anyways. I would go with Draining Degen because he throws a lot of heavy, and Tide of Combat. So those two can be really powerful for Diablo. I do believe that's gonna make his poison be modified. So whatever attack, how high your attack is with the Fury Boss from Tide of Combat, he's gonna do even more with Tide of Combat because he's gonna increase his attack. So Draining Degen, Tide of Combat. I would go with Compounding Harm, as well as what else? Perpetual Offense. I would go with those. Actually, better rage into combat. You don't, yeah. Virtual offense works good too, but rage into combat, I would say, is even better. So let me go again. Draining Degen, Tide of Combat, Compounding Harm, and Rage into Combat. Those are gonna make him really like hit like a truck. He's gonna get to his specials a lot faster. Every time his special 2 does a lot of damage, especially the fact that it's modified as well. So, and he's a sustainable champion himself. He's damage mastery friendly. So I would definitely think Diablo is one of my top picks for Incursion. So I would go with Omega Sentinel as well. Omega Sentinel has an armor up buff, so she's definitely underrated. She's also immune to Nullify, Faith Seal, and Stagger. And against Mutant, if you're fighting against like Domino, her ability accuracy cannot be modified. So she's gonna be just a great counter for a lot of mutants, as well as immune to Nullify, Face Seal, and Stagger. So she can counter a lot of champions like Mystics that have those abilities. So she's definitely underrated. She also has armor up buff, so definitely champion with armor up buff. You want to have defense cascade because you could like infinite stun them really. And what else? Not necessarily infinite stun, but stun them for a long time. And title combat, defense cascade and title combat works really well with champions with armor up buffs. So those are, I would say, definitely good ones for her. And draining degen as well. Draining degen is gonna help her a lot, especially with this synergy with Sentinel. Oh my god, the medium enders. So you can just do medium. You're just gonna drain opponents' health. I haven't tried this, but it looks so powerful, man. I want to try it one time for sure with Sentinel if you're gonna bring him on the team. But I would focus my top best. I would say, best hacks with Omega Sentinel. So draining degen, especially with the Sentinel synergy, title combat, um, defense cascade, and I would go with what else? Compounding harm. So those 4 hacks, she's gonna hit like a truck. When it comes to Hulkbuster, pretty much the same thing. I was gonna say also to note they got rid of Keep It Going, Tide of Combat, Keep It Going, Buff Cornucopia, and Strategic Movement. I mentioned it in my first video when it comes to the new Saga sector, but just letting you know again. So Bishop, I don't really know the best hacks, but you can't really go wrong with Perpetual Offense. Perpetual Offense he's gonna be really good with it. What else? I know for sure he's gonna do well. And you wanna have that small prowess hack that increases your potency from your prowess by 50%. What else? Howard the Duck is really good, usually with what do you call that? With Buff Cornucopia, but they got rid of Buff Cornucopia. But he does have armor up buff, so you can pretty much use the same ones with Omega Sentinel. I would go with like what is it? Draining Degen, Tide of Combat, compound. I would say compounding harm, and what else? Defense Cascade. Defense Cascade really helpful for champions with armor up buff. You can just pretty much infinite stun them. And Absorbing Man can be good too. I don't really know best hacks for him, but he does require skill, and he can't go wrong with Perpetual Offense. What else? Ironheart, she's definitely underrated. She could be like a better version of Omega Sentinel, except she's not immune to Nullify, Fake Seal, or Stagger. But she's pretty good, I think. It feels like her damage could be higher, or she just has more utility wise, except she lacks the immunities with compared to Omega Sentinel. So pretty much same thing. She has an armor up buff, so Defense Cascade, Tide of Combat, Draining Degen would be great. I would say Compounding Harm. If not, Perpetual Offense. We can't go wrong with Perpetual Offense. Old Man Logan could be good for Incursion, Hemostatic, and Tide of Combat. Those are 2 main hacks I would give him. I would say, what else? Compounding harm would definitely help his damage even more, as well as uh, you can't go wrong with perpetual offense. What else? I think Namor is really good for incursion, but I would say that you want him to be awakened and max sig. If you don't have a max sig, I would not bring him to incursion. Hemostatic, title combat, you can't go wrong with that because he inflicts bleed. Obviously, perpetual offense will help him as well, and compounding harm would be good. Red Skull, he has an armor up buff, so pretty much any champion with armor up buffs, you can't go wrong with defense cascade, title combat, draining degen, and what else? I would say it doesn't inflict damage over time, so go and inflict. I would say preferably go with virtual offense. What else? I think Danny Moon Star can be good in incursion. I don't really know the hacks to give her. I would say like you can't really go wrong with virtual offense. That's all I could say. White Tiger, I think she was good with Keep It Going because she inflicts a lot of hits on her combo meter, but she doesn't. There's no more Keep It Going, so I don't. I would recommend White Tiger in Incursion for the Saga sector. Dragon Man, I think he's a good synergy for Diablo. I don't really see him being very good, but synergy with Diablo because with Diablo synergy with Dragon Man, he increases plus 10% special damage with Diablo, and he can stack up to eight of them. So that means plus 80% special damage for Diablo. That's gonna make Diablo like hit like pretty hard with his special attacks. I think Mr. Sinister can be good for incursion, because he inflicts a lot of non-damaging debuff. So that's all I really know. So title combat will probably work really well for him. Kushala, I don't really know, but I think she can be good for incursion. You can't go wrong with Frederick offense. I already talked about Mr. Sinister. I seen Havoc gameplay. I was a bit surprised, but he looks like very good with type combat. So if you gain a lot of Furies as well with Havoc, get that plus 40% Fury potency, and then that increased ability accuracy to gain and increase the duration of your Fury buffs. So those are really helpful for Havoc. I think Wolverine X could be really good because he also has Unstoppable too. So hemostatic and tighter combat can benefit him. Obviously, other than that, obviously preferred your offense. Compounding harm would be helpful for him. What else? Like I mentioned, Mr. Sinister, I don't think he would be great. I think he might get a buff because he's one of the Guardians, I believe. So Omega Sentinel synergy and Sentinel buff, that would be crazy. Okay, so I think Jessica Jones being a science champion often inflict a lot of deep non-damaging debuffs. So title combat could be good for her. Cable is really good for incursion, but the thing is you can't bring Apocalypse on this Saga sector. But he's really good, but I would not bring him for the Saga sector because you cannot bring Mr. Sinister. Joe Fixit, I think, has so much potential. I prefer him to be Awakened and Max Sig. Not really sure how good he would be Unawakened, but I think he has a lot of potential because on this, especially if you have him Awakened and Max Sig, because he does he gains a lot. Like, look, when he gains heart, he has a chance to lifesteal opponents. It's also immune to poison. So it looks like he has a lot of sustainability with ability to lifesteal. Not only that, in special one does a lot of damage with a lot of bleeds. So hemostatic and tide of combat with since he inflicts bleed, just gonna melt opponent, compounding harm, I would say. And what else? You can't go wrong with I would say pressure offense. Uh, I would say would probably be better for him. So those are four hacks I would pick for Joe Fixit. Magneto has always been good for incursion. I think he was really good with Buff Cornucopia, but they got rid of it. And this is actually my um I made a video even before the new Saga sector came out talking about him being good with buff cornucopia, but as you know, if you don't really know, uh, they got rid of buff cornucopia, so I don't really know the best hack for Magneto, but I'm assuming preferential offense would definitely help him, obviously, but I think he's still going to be good for incursion. Luke Cage, I'm not really big a fan of what about the when it comes to him. There is a hack similar to Luke Cage ability. but he could be decent with this indestructible. I would not bring him to Incursion if you don't have him awaken. Really prefer to be at max sig. It can be pretty good with his signature ability. So it is passive now, which you can say is definitely a plus, but they at the same time they did kind of nerf his signature ability, so being a passive, which is unfortunate. But he inflicts a lot of non-damaging debuffs, so tighter combat is going to work really well for him. And obviously, I would go with pressure offense as well. Who else? I think Arcade has a lot of potential because he inflicts a lot of different damaging debuffs. So hemostatic, compounding harm, tighter combat. I would say, what else? I can guess pressure offense. Can't go wrong with that. Black Widow too. She inflicts bleed, hemostatic, tighter combat. I think Counter Fire could be good with tighter combat. What else? Oh man, I just took my Iron Man to rank 5. I can't wait to try him, dude. Where's my rank 5? So I just took him to rank 5, dude. I think he has so much potential in Incursion. So best hacks for Iron Man, Infamous. Uh, Defense Cascade, since his armor up buff, obviously. Tide of Combat, Draining Degen. Those 3 hacks. He's going to melt opponent with those 3 hacks. And I would go with I guess Perpetual Offense. So those 4 can be really, really good for him. And what else? Is that it? So in Incursion, you can gain. Oh man. Let's see. Did I miss a champion? Oh yeah, Ultron I think could be really good for Incursion. He inflicts bleed. He's immune to poison and bleed. He has regen. So he seems, I think, definitely underrated, especially in Incursion. I think hemostatic tighter combat. You can't go wrong with that. There's other hacks too. I would say, you know, to use. Unfortunately, I'm doing Incursion right now, so um, you can't see it, but I still have the hack. So the first hack you want to pick for Incursion is this hack right here, Second Chance. If you're doing the Sega sector, once per fight, you have an indestructible for 7 seconds. Not only that, you gain a 50% fury per hit. That is crazy. So if you ever run into like Joe Fixit, just like give me your best shot. Okay, that's when you trigger it, dude. He's just gets so many fury buffs. This is just a lifesaver. It's like pretty much similar to Luke Cage, but it's also you gain like fury buffs while you're at this phase. So this is gonna definitely save you, especially if you have like I think you have Silk. With Silk, she's not damage mastery friendly, but with Second Chance as well as I don't have it here unfortunately, and I'm in Incursion right now, so I can't really get out. So it is what it is. But it's called Siphon. Siphon is really good for Silk because she inflicts a lot of non-damaging debuffs. But that's really it. Like I mentioned, I'll give you the link below for my top 3 picks for Incursion. If you didn't see it, I went truly like a lot of details. I even shows why Morpheus is great for Incursion. So I'll post it in the description below. Thank you.